podcast. My name is Lynn and I'm coming to you from Cardiff in Wales in the UK, and this is a knitting, crochet, fibre-based fortnightly podcast. It is, I'm not even sure what the day is. No, I do know it's a Saturday, but the date, I'm going to go around the 20 something. I don't have my phone with me and we'll talk about that later. But 20 something of March, I'll put it in the show notes if that is absolutely important to you. But yes, it is definitely a Saturday. So if you are a new viewer, welcome. Thank you so much for popping along. And if you are a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back. I really do appreciate you spending some time with me and checking out this podcast. So I hope you have a drink. I hope you have your knitting bag or your crochet bag, and that you are just taking some time out in what is a pretty crazy world at the moment. I hope you are all safe. I hope you are all okay. But we'll catch up on the world events a little bit later on maybe. But for now, this is a knitting podcast and that's what we're going to have a look at. We are looking at some finished objects. We'll be looking very hard because I don't have any. We'll be looking at work in progress, and we'll be looking at some yarn acquisitions, which also I don't have. So, what is there in this episode? Just the middle section, I think. But, we get the general gist. We know what we're supposed to be looking at. Yes, so anything else to say? It is sunny for the first time in quite a while here in the UK. So it has certainly lifted spirits at a time when spirits need to be lifted. So hopefully, if that weather holds, we might have a little bit of a walk later, get out of the house. At an appropriate distance, of course, but I just need some fresh air. Cabin fever is setting in. But as I say, we'll come to that a little bit later, how the world is changing at the moment. So let's occupy ourselves with things that make us happy at the moment, and that is our knitting, crochet, fibre, spinning projects, all the projects. So what do I have on the needles? Well, if you watched last week's episode, and the week before, I think, the days, it's crazy. But anyway, you will see that I have made lots and lots of cast-ons recently, so I've made some good progress on most of those actually. So let's have a little look at them. So the one you saw at the beginning is the Chauncey Sweater by Isabel Kramer. Excuse me twisting round. This has now become my home office room as well as my knitting room. So we are adapting the room and the space as we go. God forbid when my son gets home and he has to be in here as well. I don't think he's going to let me record while he's lying in bed. But you never know. I doubt it. Anyway, let me find the pattern. So yes, this is the Chauncey Sweater by Isabel Kramer. The glorious, talented, ever wonderful Isabel Kramer. So this is the pattern as it stands. So as you can see, I haven't really been too experimental with the colour, but that is because that's exactly what I wanted. So we go, yeah, I'll stick to that then. So this is the progress I've made so far. So last night, I finally finished the colour work, which is always happy and sad at the same time. Shall I show it the right way up? Because it's happy that it means it's closer to being worn, obviously, but it's sad because I really do enjoy colour work, especially at the moment. It really kind of keeps you focused, a line at a time, which is always good. Line at a time, day at a time, breath at a time, if that's all we can cope with. Yeah, so this is knitting up really nicely. I am knitting it in Rauma Lamul yarn, which is I pause because it's not a fingering weight. I think it's a light fingering weight. It is 250 meters per 50 grams, so that comes in at about that, and it's lovely. It's rustic, but it's really soft. I am a little bit sensitive, especially around here, and it is so soft, and as it's being worked up it is getting softer and softer all the time, and we'll come back to that in a second. And then my red colour is this one, and it is the Isagar Tvinny Tweed. I've never used this before and I absolutely recommend. It is 100% pure new wool. It's a Danish brand, and it is 100 grams is 510 meters. So again, very much a light fingering weight. But it is really lovely. I had a bit of a drama because the pattern calls for fingering weight and 3.5mm needles. So I did a little bit of a swatch and found that I just about got the gauge for that on a 3.25, because I wasn't sure what to do with the yarn. I knew I wanted a nice red jumper, but I couldn't find the pattern. So I thought what I would do is I would go down a needle size, but up a physical size. So the pattern I'm doing, I think, is for a 46-inch chest. Now, when I got, of course, halfway through the yoke, I mean, who does these things straight away? I did do a swatch, but I didn't do a round and round swatch. I know. I didn't. So, you know, there we go. The gauge that was coming in, it should have been, I think, 30 stitches per 4 inches, and I was coming out at about 25, I believe. Or was it the other way around? I can't remember. Anyway, I needed less stitches per inch, so I thought I had to block it. I'd done about half the yoke, so as you can see, there's a slight difference here. Just like, I think about here I changed it. So this bit is lovely and blocked already. Stitch definition is lovely, and then as we go down here, you can see that it's still a bit raggedy. So yeah, I thought I would block what I had, and if the worst came to the worst, I would have to pull back and start again. But I've just about made it. I think I've got to like 28 stitches per 4 inches. So I'm nearly there. I'm hoping that going up all the way to 46-inch size means that I should be getting around a 42 inch, and that will suit me fine. So a little bit of a drama there. So I did do a hefty block to try and check that I would be okay, and I think I will be. I'll give it all a really hard block later, obviously, once it's all finished. But for now, that'll be fine. It might be a little bit more closer fitting than I initially planned, but it doesn't matter. And yeah, it's getting really soft. That's the block that I did with just some wool wash has really made a real difference. It's nice and soft now, so I'm looking forward to getting that one finished. I'm looking forward to hitting the stocking stitch bit, so I can kind of race through that and be able to watch some TV as well as knitting. I can't do that as easily when I'm working through a colour chart. I'm sure you are the same. So yes, that one is working well, and as I said to you last time, I was hoping that I would have, this is a top down obviously, so I've got a top down yoke sweater and I've got a bottom up yoke sweater. So I was hoping that I would always have some colour work on the go, and it's just about working out. So my next sweater is the Trek sweater by Tin Can Knits from the Strange Brew book. So this is their book. If you only have one book in your library and you like yoke patterns, this is brilliant. But anyway, so this is the sweater I'm doing, the Trek sweater, as I say. Where is she? There she is, sitting nice and peacefully. So obviously once I've done the sweater, that landscape will appear, won't it? Yeah, out the back there, and I'll be able to sit and muse looking over this beautiful fjord or lake or ice cap, whatever it is. It will just appear, because that's what happens. It's the same, I don't know if you know this, but it's the same when you get your hair cut and you take a picture in and you say, I'd like my hair cut like this. Your face and body change as well to the person in the photograph. People say it doesn't, but it does. Yeah, it's great. Yes, so I digress. I am doing that one. You can really tell that cabin fever is setting in, can't you? And I've got quite a way on that one. So this is a bottom up sweater. So, ooh, one moment. The dreaded drop stitch. Don't breathe, don't breathe. It's okay, it's fine. So here we have, this is the grey I'm doing it in. It's a lovely kind of charcoaly grey. It blows out a little bit in the camera. It's a little bit darker than you're seeing. Yeah, it's more of a charcoal. And these are the colours I have chosen for the yoke. I am really loving this combo. It took me a little while to, you know when you get a colour palette that you want to work with and you're trying to adapt it to the pattern. I don't think I've got it here with me, or have I? Oh, I might have. So what I did was, so that's the chart that as is, obviously I'm only going to show you a bit of this, but I sort of had to colour in my own chart with some pens and things to get what I wanted, so I could blend the colours together and work out what I wanted. I'll just show you a little section. Yeah, so I was colouring in my little graph paper to get an idea of how I wanted the colours to pan out, and it's worked pretty well. I bought like a box of about 80 pens a couple of months ago now, specifically for this, because I don't know about you, but if I change over colours from the original charted pattern, I have an absolute mare of remembering which. It's orange in the pattern, but I've chosen green, and it's green in the pattern, but I've chosen purple, you know, those kind of things. So yes, if you, like me, struggle with that, get yourself a nice little pack of pens, which is no bad thing anyway. Who doesn't love a set of colouring pens? And then do your own chart, only on a bit of graph paper. And at least you can follow it a little bit easier, because the amount of times I've had to pull back sections because I've got my pinks and my greens confused is not worth mentioning. So yeah, coloured pens are the key. But what's really interesting, well I think it is that my friend Carol, we shared these coloured balls of yarn. So these come in 100-gram balls. It's the John Arbon Textiles Knit by Numbers, which I'll show you in a sec. But yeah, these come in 100-gram balls, and you only really need about 50 grams. So we split the skeins and didn't tell each other what we were going to do with the colour work, how we were going to allocate them. And what's great is that they are slightly different, and they look overall very different, even though there's only a different couple of colours in there that I'll change the order. So that's really interesting. It's really interesting to see how just a change of one or two colours can alter a general feel. Her sweater I think is in a much darker charcoal. But yeah, we'll be track sweater buddies at some point. At some point we'll be able to stand 2 meters away from each other and have matching sweaters. So that will be nice. So I will be carrying on with that, trying to get that one finished. What else? I'm gonna have a slurp of tea, excuse me. It's been one of those mornings already. What else? Brioche. So I'm getting to grips with brioche. Those of you that have been here for a while know that this is my challenge, to try and do new skills this year. So I've dyed up some yarn in these two colours, as you will have seen if you've been here before. If not, have a look back. I've done a little vlog on those about how I dyed those up. But this is the Seelig shawl. I don't have the pattern with me, I'm sorry. It's in the autumn last year Pom Pom magazine. Seelig Shawl by Katrin Schubert, I think. I'll pop it down here. But it is a lovely, lovely shawl pattern. And it is coming up very nicely. So you see the lighter, see it's blowing out now. You see the lighter shades offering the texture there, and the darker shades sitting in the background. Oh, it's very much like the seascape that I was hoping would appear once I've done my trek sweater. So maybe what I'll do is I'll just sit and look at this. That's as close as I'm gonna get. And then the back side just has that nice bit of texture, but it isn't as accentuated as the front. As I say, those of you that have been here a while will have seen that before. I only ever really do that on a Sunday. That's my kind of quiet day, so that will take me quite a while to work up, so you'll have to bear with me on that one. And now my camera battery is flashing at me, so hang fire, I should be back in a second. 3, 2, 1, we're back in the room. So what was I saying? Yes, Seelig's shawl. What I forgot to say earlier was that this is the John Arbon Knit by Numbers. It's a double knit and it is a 100% pure Falklands merino wool. 100 grams is 250 meters, so that's for the Trek sweater. Shades wise, they're just numbers, so KBN 61DK. I don't know, that might be the grey, might be the green, I'm not sure. I'm usually good at writing the colours on the bands, but obviously not as good as I think. So yes, it's a really lovely yarn to knit with. I think it might pill a little bit, but I shall keep you posted on that one. So that's that. Needles. I was talking to someone about needles on Instagram the other day, and I generally use Knit Pro Symphony, the wooden ones. I find those really, really lovely to work with on a big project. For my socks, I often use the Sock and Wonder, the really small circular ones, and they're metal tips. But if I don't use those, if I use my DPNs, then they are Knit Pro Symphony DPNs as well, the bamboo ones, the wooden ones. I find that they are they're a little bit more sticky to the yarn, so especially when you're doing colour work and stuff, you don't want the yarn to fly off the end of the needle. However, taking all that back now, on my Chauncey sweater I am using higher sharps. What I was finding with the wooden Symphony needles is that because the yarn is nice and rustic, the sticky yarn was sticking to the stickiness of the wood, if you get me. And because the yarn is quite fine and the Symphony bamboo tips of the needles are quite blunt, it was a little bit laborious to pick up the very, very thin threads. So I thought I would give these a go. I did have a couple of pairs in my stash anyway. I don't remember why I bought them. I have no idea, but obviously they were there. So I thought, okay, I had a couple of cords, so I bought the tips, and I have to say for this, these have been splendid. I would absolutely use them again, especially for rusticy yarns, especially for yarns that are a little bit sticky. They're much quicker. I kind of fly through the rows, especially now I'm just on the stocking stitch rows. I know that that's going to go quite quickly for me. What that means for you, some of you guys I'm sure can knit up a sweater in a few days. Me, not so much. So yeah, that's been really interesting, and the join on them is lovely. It's really smooth, and you get the nice little higher they're sort of like rubber pads to tighten, which I could do with doing, to tighten them a little bit, rather than the pins. The Knit Pro have the pin that goes through and you tighten. Are they? Oh no, they're okay. They just spin around on the cord. I've never noticed that before. That's why they're probably so easy to use. Yeah, so the needle spins around on the cord, because sometimes that doesn't happen with the other ones, and so you kind of get yourself in a bit of a knot. So I am really liking those for the old rustic yarns, and I'm knitting more with rustic yarns these days. So yeah, you kind of, one always kind of sticks to the one version of the needle. And I hear other podcasters and other people say, oh, I use that needle for this thing and that needle for that thing, and it's starting to make sense to me now, I think. So yeah, I like those very much. I mostly use interchangeables because I'm really lazy. This is the general thing. And you know, when you want to try on a sweater, I can't bear that putting it all on a piece of waste yarn and then trying it on, and then putting it from the piece of the waste yarn all the way back onto the needle. So what I tend to do is, with the interchangeables, you see, you have your stoppers, so you can take the needle off and put the stopper on. And then you can get a connector bit for most of the interchangeables. I know you can do it with a higher. I know you can do it with the Symphony Knit Pro or Knit Pro in general. And then you can attach a longer cable. So now you've got two cables attached together with stoppers on the end. And then you can try it on really simply. You just take the one cable off, reattach the needles, away to go. So yes, and as always, you're probably sitting there going, I know that, but when I worked that out, it was a little bit of a revelation. So mostly I do that now. That's why I use interchangeable needles, because I can't bear putting things on waste thread. Always a reason, always something to save time with me. I've got something in my eye, I do apologise. What's next on the needles? I know, look at me, so many projects. Usually I'm pretty good as a one project kind of gal. So I have joined a mystery KAL. I've never done one of these before, and this mystery KAL is being run by Sarah Alderson and Anne Kingstone. So here's the little banner of it, and just the first few sentences. It's the shoulder to shoulder MKAL, found on Ravely, obviously, found on Instagram, obviously. Oh, I'll put that up there because all their details are here. Oh, and I'm enjoying very much. You have two options each time. You have an option 1 or an option 2. The sections of the pattern come out weekly. But there's been a delay this week. This is week 3 we're in now, and there's been a bit of a delay. As you can imagine, events have kind of taken over most people. But yeah, so there's been a delay on their launch of week 3, which is fine by me because I am well and truly behind, as always, but I knew I would be. So this is week 1, and I know it's supposed to be a mystery KAL, but I think I'm okay to show you because, no, I won't show you actually. Oh look, don't look there, you cheaters. I'll just show you the yarn I'm using. So option 1 was cast on 403 stitches, option 2 was cast on 12. Yeah, yes, I did. I went for the 12. So I am doing it out of these two. You needed 2 contrast colours of sock weight yarn, 4-ply yarn. And these I thought went together really nicely. I don't really like completely contrasting, like a yellow and a green, say. So I thought that was contrasting enough, and the red is really picked up in this lovely little cotton candy. So these two, as I think I mentioned last week, are one is, I know, an Eden Cottage yarn. The red one is an Eden Cottage yarn crab apple, and the other one is a Lorna Jane Makes cotton candy. So this is Eden Cottage yarn, although I think she's changed her logo now. This was a long time ago. And this is Lorna Jane Makes. There's her logo. So yeah, they are knitting up really nicely. So I'm quite enjoying something that I don't know how it's going to end. Like many things at the moment, right? So that's quite nice. I'm ticking away on that. There's lots of charts, lots of lace work, which I haven't done for a long time, so that's quite nice to get my head back in the lace game. So I recommend that. Have a little look on Rav, have a little look on Instagram, and if you fancy joining along, if you've got a bit of time on your hands as you're at home and you can deep stash dive to 2 skeins of sock yarn, go for gold. They reckon that gradient yarns aren't too good for it, or yarns that are too speckly, so a slight speckle and a solid, happy days. What else? Oh yeah, and then I was looking through all my stuff because I've got a little bit more time at home. As you know, I work away in the week generally, but now I'm at home, working from home. So I found half a Kate Davis project, as you do. So this is my little Kate Davis bag. So this must have been, Christmas 2 years ago, I think. I had it for Christmas. I took it to EYF with me last year, hoping that I would be able to get busy with it, but I did not. So let me show you the pattern first. It's from the lovely Millarochy Heeds. I'm not sure which way. And it is this. Oh, you see, there's a theme here. You'll laugh. Look, this lady now is looking out at the water. So if I wear my jumper and this hat, I am guaranteed a beautiful lake view. And if not, I shall be in touch with Kate Davis and Tin Can Knits to complaining about false advertising. Anyway, so this is the hat that I am aiming to do, and it is called, bear with, it is called Tetagouche. Tetagouche I'm going to go for. Can you see? That's how it's spelled. And I'm doing it out of Kate Davis's own yarn, which I very rarely do. I'm usually a big one for substituting. This is how far I've got. That's quite appalling, isn't it? But there we are. And it is really lovely to work with. A little bit rusticy, but not a lot. Have I got a little ball band? Dig deep in this. Yeah, I do. Milwaukee tweed. Milwaukee tweed. Milwaukee tweed. It's all about the emphasis, right? So this is her logo and her label. And they come in, I think, at 25 gram balls. There's 100 meters on here. Yeah, 25 gram balls, 100 meters. Oops. But they're nice. They've got a real tweediness to them, as the name would suggest. But it is lovely. And again, a project that I will pick up now I've found it underneath project bags and stuff. Oops, let me put it back in the bag. So as you can see, I have got plenty to get on with. No finished objects. No new cast-ons since last week. Oh, but I have made a little pre-order purchase of the 52 weeks of socks. Yeah, it's Mother's Day tomorrow, and that's what I wanted, so that's what I've gone for. It is a little bit expensive, but 52 socks, how long is that going to keep you going for? And the great thing is that they're all by different designers, so once that comes through, I don't think it comes out until mid-April, or this print run. It has been out already, but I think this is the 4th print run. So yes, I've put in an order for that, which I will share with you when it arrives. But that's the only yarny purchase I've made this week. Oh, other than buying another set of needles, 2.75s for my mystery MKAL. I thought I had 100 centimetre. I thought I had 2.7 centimetres. Look, this means interchangeables. This means fixed. We all know that, right? So yeah, I've got a small fixed 2.75 for socks and things, but I don't have a long interchangeable 2.75. So I've bought some tips for that. But that's it. That's all I've been doing, knitting wise and purchasing wise, which is no bad thing. So I think that's all the nitty content really from me. So if you're staying for a bit more chat, then that's lovely. If not, thank you so much for dropping by. I hope you're keeping well. I might go to weekly podcasts because I'll probably have a little bit more content as I've got a little bit more time at home. So yeah, we'll see how that goes, but I will keep you posted. Please like and subscribe, or tap the like button, or do the bell thing so that you get to know what's going on. And I hope that the knitting community that we already have will strengthen as we share ideas for keeping busy and share love and support across the nations as we go through this terrible, terrible time. Anyway, so I will chat about what I've been up to. But yes, if you're going now, thank you so much indeed. If you are staying, so things took a turn, huh? Yes, we are all in a little bit of an unknown territory, unknown times, and I hope you are all keeping well. And by that, I don't mean only physically well, but mentally well as well. They're very, very scary times. Keeping in touch with each other is really important, and just making sure that everybody knows that we're all thinking of each other. We had a little sing-song in the street last night, which was really lovely. We in the UK, this must be, they closed all the pubs and clubs and restaurants last night. That was the official government decree that should happen. We haven't been forced to stay home yet. There's not a complete lockdown, but everybody is very much recommended to self-isolate, to stay inside. Social distancing when out and about, getting shopping or supplies, that sort of thing. So yeah, my two are still at university. I'm working from home. Our university closed midweek. We were all told to work from home as much as we could. Obviously lecturing on a performing arts course is rather difficult to put online. It's not I know nothing's easy to just put online lecture wise, but yeah, we're really having to think about the way that we deliver our lectures and try and get our students to the end of the year. We did think that, hope against hope, that we might be back after Easter, but that looks like it's not going to happen now. So we've got a few modules to get our students through. So working from home, trying to find resources and lectures in order to get the students through that phase. But my heart breaks for them. What a way to finish their uni degree, no final show. And on a performing degree, that's the thing. Performing is the thing. Yes, they've had 2 public performances of different modules so far, but they know that their last module is the hey, we did it. We spent these 3 years together and we got to this point and we can celebrate our achievements. And it makes me a bit sad. It makes me tear up even now. Yeah, so that's a real shame for them. Same for our A-level students, same for our GCSE. Sorry, the camera did its thing. Probably an opportune moment. But yeah, it turns off and on at random times, usually to tell me to stop talking. So hey, maybe that's wise. But yes, A-level students, GCSE students, kids leaving primary schools, it's all really tricky times. And I know that's just for us. I know that everywhere is going through the same things at different stages. It's been nice to kind of connect with some of my knitty friends over in Canada and in Norway and in Holland, Netherlands. Yeah, it's been quite nice to kind of receive messages of support and love and send them out. And Layla from Varbit Yarns, I met her earlier this year, who is an absolute angel, and it was just, her message was really lovely about how, yeah, we will never feel the same about hugs again. Valuing hugs is going to be a great thing when we get to the other side of this awful time. What else? Yeah, kids are still in uni. They are sticking it out as long as they can, but I think they are aware now that things are getting serious and they need to come home. I know young people kind of think that, oh, maybe they'll just breeze through it, but I think they realise now that they have a responsibility to keep everybody safe, to behave wisely and to keep away from people and not to be out and about. One of the people that lives with my daughter, has a suppressed immune system, so they were obviously very worried about her. She's now gone home. Or it's just so difficult. It's difficult to know what to do, really. So all we can do is try and keep our spirits up, do everything we can to protect everybody in our communities. And I did see a Facebook post that made me laugh saying, knitters and crocheters, do not fear self-isolation. It's what we've been training for. And yes, I agree. So that's all I'm going to say. I absolutely hope you are well. Please send me some messages. Keep knitting, keep crocheting, keep happy, keep safe, and I will be in touch with you very soon. You can get hold of me via Instagram, Ravely, etc, etc. Let's keep each other's spirits up and we will get through this together. Big love to you all. Hoi vowed. Bye.